Hello, my name is Brad Hutt. My channel is simply called Discerning What is True. My talk today is simply called Why People Never Truly Find the Truth. That is today. The opportunity is actually greater than in any way, any time since the last 2,000 years. Truly. Rather than we have the opportunity at a peaceful time somewhat. Some can debate with that or not. But truly, this is a chance of opportunity because simply is that a lot of the information is now on the internet. A ton of it is, if those who will seek it. So some stumbling blocks I see that many people do. First is simply people who agree with the theologians, those that go to church and believe in theology, Christianity. They read the Bible as being a literal interpretation of what God is talking about, and they choose to believe that. They never really actually have any type of experience, so to speak, or event in their way of seeing things. They just simply follow the crowd. And that's what they do. They follow the crowd. They also think simply is that since the Christianity is more relevant, that is supposedly in the Western world, that everybody else is wrong. That is outside of the West. In other words, those in the East, the Middle East, anybody else is something they're wrong, as though they're special. In reality, they're wrong, you see. There are many who flock to what we call great theologians, so to speak, in our day. That would be either the Catholics and the Protestants, and buy into what I call theology and just love it. You know, enjoy the technical points and how they look at the Bible and eschatology and how relates to what God is man and man is God. Not man is God, but God is man. He was there on the hills of Golgotha, all that, as though it's literal when it's never even close to that, folks. It's never meant to be literal, except those who run the churches. The ones in power, the ones who come along and speak to you in Latin, and you're okay. What is he talking about? But they don't actually elaborate on it. You see, you just take it for, oh, he's telling the truth because he's a man of God. How do you know he's a man of God? Just because he has this nice garb all over him, just like a quote unquote doctor wears a white clothes on his in his office or at hospitals, and though he's telling you the truth. Do you really believe that? Or are you just looking at a character? You're fooling yourself. And so when I share with you that is to do, the idea simply is that the point of revealing truth, it doesn't come from a literal perspective. It never has and never will. And those who choose to believe that, that's their wagon. But there's also grace and mercy with God. God is merciful that if you fail in this lifetime and do not discover who God is, you get a chance next time when you reincarnate here, which is the beauty of the goodness of God. But many people don't like that neither. They want their cake all at one time. But most people are not ready for the truth, you see, because most people come in with their presuppositions, their ideas, and so their presuppositions are greater than the truth itself. And so when that happens, simply is that someone does speak about truth, which we and Phil have talked about a few times, that destroys their paradigm. They can't handle it. And so what happens simply is, guess what? They discard it. There are many who simply is that they don't want anything to do with the Bible. Well, that's because they read it literally and they don't understand, or they truly are not seeking to find the deeper points of what Scripture is about. As I posted today, some pictures actually on Facebook, actually from the book that Phil just recently done, which is on the book of Genesis. The book of Genesis is revealing story after story after story of the moments of salvation for people. That's what they're revealing. Chapter after chapter is revealing a salvation moment that takes place with characters, you see. You know, the situation with Lot, not Lot, but Noah and his family. Do you really actually believe that God would, quote unquote, flood the whole world to destroy all people? Doesn't make any sense. God is benevolent. He's not an evil tyrant, but this is what people see in the Old Testament. They come in with their own glasses and reveal, which is presuppositions, and they stumble because that's what they see. They truly don't want to know the truth. They truly just want a personal Jesus, so to speak. You know, the old song back in the 1990s, you wanted your own personal Jesus. That's what people want. You know, they create their character who Jesus is. But that's make believe, folks. And so what is taking place here, as we talk about this simply in the book of Genesis, is that step after step, we have simply is the idea of the Holy Spirit and the observer. And you actually have the Spirit within you. It's already there. That's what actually, quote unquote, lets you live forever because you come from God. But the stumbling block for us is the flesh. The idea simply is that we have to have food. We have to have water. We have to have a place of shelter in our lives. We have to have the conveniences that maybe our own forefathers or forefathers even way back long ago never had. And yet we're somewhat better than ever in conveniences, and yet we choose to waste our lives on foolish things, not actually seeking to find out who we are and why we're here and what is our purpose, you see. And so when we come to the people, which I've read some people, particular books actually, and they're good books, you know, they're good authors. You know, one is Tom Harpur, Harpur, which I've been going through a series of, but Tom Harpur never found the truth. He only found the first part. And the reason why he knows that simply is that he read Alvin Boyd Kuhn's works, which Alvin Boyd Kuhn wrote probably 45 to 50 books. And if anybody wants to read those books, you can go to PDF Drive, drive.com, and put in your name and become a member. And you can download these books and read them on your own computer. You don't have to spend $1. Are you willing to do that? I doubt it. I really do. Most of you are not willing to do that because you don't see the reason why you're here. So this is what I'm trying to point out simply is that most people are looking for the glamour guys. They're looking for the popular people, the speakers, the poster boys, you see. You know, Alvin Boyd Kuhn and Gerald Massey are giants, that is, in the philosophical world and also in the biblical perspective. But they never found the truth. They found part of it, but they never found the whole part of it, you see. And what they were trying to do is simply they discovered that Christianity and its literalism perspective is actually a stumbling block for every man that's been born basically from 300 back all the way to roughly 2000, approximately 1700 years. And so the idea has come along, and those who actually run this planet, so to speak, those who how would I say not run, but actually keep people in darkness, have brought in a new type of approach, which is the New Age movement, which is nothing but fluffiness and butterfly talk, just basically foolishness. And yet people flock to that, you see, because they're looking for a easy way, an easy path. There is no easy path, folks. Never was, never will be. Get that in your head, you see. But everybody wants something easy because everybody is following that path. You see, the many will fail each time. The scripture makes it very clear. It's only a few. What is a few? Maybe a handful, folks. You say, what do you mean by that, Brent? There's over 8 billion people here. Yes. That means maybe you're saying maybe less than 10 people discover this? Yes. Yes. Because most people are not ready for this. Most people are not even not understanding this, or not even flocking to this, because they don't see it as important in their lives, and they won't see it because they choose to. You see, they have free will. You see, they have the opportunity. That's the beauty of who God is. He allows you to have free will and choose, make errors. In reality, God doesn't make the errors. You make those errors. You make those mistakes in your life, not God. God doesn't make any mistakes. He doesn't point a gun to your head and force you to do anything. You see? And so this is why people struggle. So there's even people like, oh, trying to think of their names here on my top of my head here, and that are speakers today that are quite popular. Let me go back in here and look at my screen here, and I can tell you who they are. Let's see, bear with me just a second. As I look into this, I wrote something down here, and I wanted to point this out to people. Come on now, computer, move. Um, so there are people that flock to people like John Lash. Okay, there are people who flock to Dan Brown, people who follow Graham Hancock, and others. And they think these people are great people. You know, these people wrote about the pyramids. Yeah, again, they try to put things together. You know, not John, but Graham Hancock believes actually there was a quote unquote physical, um, yes, a physical flood that took place on this planet and destroyed people. He tries to bring the Bible in, but also he creates his own quote unquote way of looking at it. In reality, he fools people, and people don't even see this at all. Um, there are others, as Dan Brown talks about um, the groups that we call, what do you call them? The Freemasons and other groups such and such. Who cares? It's not that important, folks. We're talking about salvation. We're talking about truth here. But yet, this is where people lash on. And you have John Lash, who's basically in the not hermetic, but Gnostic perspective. But really, he steers people away too, you see, because he chooses to quote unquote to take his own interpretation of what they're talking about it with these Gnostic works. So he's coming in simply as you see, he's saying simply is that he's able to discern what is being taught in these lessons in these books in reality, and simply by his books and simply and you can this knowledge when people actually can go in and download this information and read it themselves and begin trying to understand it themselves. But people don't trust themselves anymore either, you see. But then I said, again, there's all kinds of stumbling blocks for people. People just choose to, quote unquote, not seek these things because in reality, it's a hard road. It's a hard road for people. And most people are not going to pursue this. They also don't have time. They also are pursuing what I call other things. I got to have my, I have to have my heaven on earth, so to speak. And there'll never be a heaven on earth, folks. Never will be. There never will be a heaven on earth. Look around you. It's very clear. It's evident around you. Hell is taking place right now because this is hell. This is hell. This is a hell planet, folks. This isn't a quote unquote fairy tale. People die here. People don't live long here. People die of things they don't even know what happened to them. People are killed. And there are people out here, quote unquote, want to make heaven here. Are you crazy? Are you? It's to reveal simply is that this planet is hell. But there are people who tell you that you're going to hell. Oh, really? How do you figure that one out? There are people out here who act as though they know the truth when they don't know it at all. They're not, but what I call skilled false teachers. They're a dime a dozen here, folks. They're all over the place. They're liars. They're truly liars to you. They lie to you about things. They are what I call simplistic. Well, this number here will add up to your day. Really? You see, the gematria, all this bullshit. But people, you see, they don't understand it, you see. So there's someone that comes along and tries to teach them. But see, people are, quote unquote, don't want to know the truth. They just want something to make them feel good and acceptable because they can't stand up on their own by themselves. They can't. And that's okay. Again, they'll have their opportunity next time or the next time after that. Again, God is gracious and merciful and all that. And so when I read from from Alvin Boyd Kuhn, yeah, it's enormous information here. Brilliant work, but he never discovered the truth. He discovered the truth that basically the Bible is not literal. He understood a lot of things the Egyptians were. In reality, the stories of what we see with the Jewish writers is basically comes from the Egyptians. They just changed the characters. That's all they did, you see. And they created their stories, you see. But those stories are riddles, you know. I have a book here. I shared this with Phil. I shared this with Phil, and then Phil has the book also, and he was reading this thing. He said, "Man, this is a treasure trove." He says, "I don't understand why people don't even look and research this." I said, "Well, yes, basically less than $20, but nobody looks at it. This is this is the metaphysical meanings of certain words in Scripture, like Melchizedek, all these words, which I read it on his day when we met Thursday. We talked about a little bit about what Melchizedek meant, which is basically a righteous one. You see, a holy person, so to speak. You see, but people won't even go out and research this stuff. Well, a lot of it simply is they don't even know the word to research. See, God demands you basically to dig deep. You see, he basically, if you want to find the truth, you got to dig deep. You can't believe in all these clowns out here. You see, another great writer that Phil has pointed out, but he never found the truth neither. But he discovered a lot of things. He found a lot of essential things which actually help Phil see things. A gentleman named Arthur M. Young. But I doubt anybody will even read these books because it's too technically hard for them. They don't want to understand. They don't want to dig. They just want to be, oh, just give me a fluffy little story, make me feel good, and maybe cushy nicey, let me feel good. I just want to feel good. You see, most people, this is a hard place. They want to escape. Look around you, people. People do all kinds of things to escape. What do you mean by that, Brent? Well, they take drugs. They take drugs to just escape from life. They can't deal with it. And I know because simply this is hell. This is hell, folks. You're not going to hell. You're already here. You are in hell. You have people who lie to you every day. They can't tell the truth to save their life. That's all they know. They want to manipulate you. They want to use you. They want to steal from you. You think that's heaven? And those out there say, well, we got to make heaven on this planet. How are you going to make heaven in hell? You can't. It's impossible. And so you waste valuable time and quote unquote trying to escape, which is what people do. They escape from reality. They can't handle it. That's why people are involved in all kinds of things. Oh yeah, sexual escapades, escapes with someone, da da da. But reality simply is they're just using one another. You see, or there's escape simply is this fluffy stuff. Oh, it's such and such. I'll go out into nature. There's nothing wrong with nature, but then you made it God. You stumble again. And so this is why people, don't get anywhere. They don't dig. They don't dig deep. They don't pursue these things with their heart and their head. And I think Phil, meaning when he told me this, is very, very clear that what Phil says is the truth. But no one watches what I share, which doesn't bother me. I don't expect anybody to know what I'm talking about, what we share, because I know there are only a few. It talks about a narrow path in scriptures. No one even thinks, oh, I'm a Christian, such and such. And yet I'm thinking, wait a minute, you're a Christian. You're on a wide path, sir. You are. You're not on a narrow way. You're not even close. You bought into what the preachers preach. And what do the preachers do? Well, they go to theological seminary and study this stuff. And then they espouse this stuff and, read from the Bible, because they create all this quote unquote religious terms, theology, which theo means simply God. And ontology means knowledge, the knowledge of God. But, knowledge is fine, but knowledge has to lead to wisdom, you see. Wisdom is the pearl in the great field, you see. I don't know how many minutes I've gone on in this particular video, so I got to check that out because I wasn't going to do a long video. But point is simply is why people never truly find the truth today. And there are many charlatans out there. I mean, it's amazing what kind of people are out there, and they're getting paid for it. They're getting paid for it. They're getting paid to be what they claim they think is truth when they really actually probably are charlatans, like I said, are false teachers, and yet they get paid for it. And people are in some ways, okay, I'll believe that, I'll pay you such and such amount of money. Well, I don't think that's the way it works, folks. Do you think it works that way? Do you believe that you're simply going to have to pay someone to tell you the truth? If it is, you're a fool. You really are. Only those who truly know, who do know the wisdom of God, who seek after it, and don't charge anything for it. Anyone that charges for it is already a liar. A fucking liar. They lie to you. And they don't have a heart because they don't ever had a heart in the first place. Nothing happened to them, you see. So when Christianity is gradually disintegrating, as it happens in the last 100 to 150 years, there are other charlatans that come out of the woodworks, you see. And so you have the Eastern particular perspective, and they're just as lost. And now they're prevalent, you see. And people pay there. People go to Tibet, they say such and such. They stand in line, they pay money to speak to some guy, such and such, and they may get, 10 minutes with this guy? If anyone is quote unquote writing books to make a profit, anyone who tries to make money off of you, anyone that does that are false teachers. They're lying to you. They're deceiving you. There's those that quote unquote say you're in hell here. Not hell. They're saying such and such, you're going to hell. You have preachers say that. You have even New Agers speak this stuff nonsense. You see, because they're using fear. You see, because you're actually spirit. That's who you are. You truly are spirit. And you being spirit means you're everlasting. But you come here in reality to deal with a 3D world in a physical body that has so many needs to take care of itself. And the struggles of life, like I said earlier. So I don't want to keep going around in circles here, but I just mainly want to share this with people because I think the problem simply is that you're following people that you gravitate to because you think that basically money is going to find your happiness, and it's not. Yeah, money can be used in a way to help you, like buy books and dig deep. But even today, you really don't have to do that. You can actually search online and read some of these books, but none of them want to do that. Very few people choose that. That's why there's a few. Only a few people pursue this. So we have, which Alvin Boyd Kuhn and Gerald Massey were both theosophicalists. With theo meaning God, and I would assume the sophist part is part of wisdom. Again, I'm probably, saying that out of the top of my head. But you have people who follow Manly P. Hall. Manly P. Hall had no experience, folks. He is actually, what he writes is just the history of what these people said. You see, so he didn't have any experience that even Phil talks about. Not even close. Again, this is why people are gravitating to many things that basically are missing the whole point. And why did I say stumbling block? Or why did I say you need to dig deep? Well, you need to pursue things deeper. You need to get a book that basically is not popular. You need to basically choose to pursue this with all your gusto. If you don't, that's your choice. No problem. I don't hate you at all. I have no desire to hate you. I feel sorry for you, but it's not your time. You see, it's not your time. Maybe a few more times here, and you'll come to that particular reality. That's what, the beauty of it. So thank you for listening. I wish that you all would have ears to hear and eyes to see the truth that God has revealed through his holy Bible. Thank you. Take care.